Welcome, everybody. Welcome to episode number 139 of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. I am your host, Mike Eilon, CEO of Greek University. We call these episodes Fraternity Foodie because there is nothing like great food to bring people together. Now, go and check out our new book. We released it a few weeks ago. It's called From Letters to Leaders, Creating Impact on Your College Campus and Beyond. All of our listeners are going out and picking it up. On your Kindle, it's only $2.99. Or you can get the paperback for $9.99 on Amazon. I promise you, no matter which option you choose, it's going to be the best money you've ever spent. So go and check that out. Now, today on the podcast, we have somebody that I think is going to bring so much great conversation, especially to the aspiring teachers that we have that listen to our podcast. Her name is Dr. Samantha Fecich. And she is currently an assistant professor and instructional technologist at Grove City College in Grove City, Pennsylvania. Prior to that, she taught students with special needs for 4 years. And she recently published a book. It's called EduMagic, a guide for pre-service teachers, which brings to light the fact that teaching does not begin when you walk across the stage at graduation, but instead, it begins during your first class at 8 a.m., your freshman year of college. So with a little bit of EduMagic, you too can be an educator of excellence during your college career. Welcome to the show, Dr. Samantha Fecich.
Hey, Mike, I'm so excited to be here. I love the energy. I love talking about college. I love talking about food. So this is my jam.
This is your jam. You got the perfect podcast. You got food, you got education, you got college. I mean, what else do you need, right?
I know, right?
This is great. All right. So what I like is for our listeners to know a little bit about where you came from.
Sure.
You decided on California University of Pennsylvania for your undergraduate experience. And we're all wondering what made this particular institution the right choice for you.
Yeah, sure. So I went to Cal U to get my degree in elementary education. And at the time, they were adding in special education as a dual degree. And my dad calls me up one day on my flip phone and he goes, "Hey, Sammy, you should, I just saw on the news that all the state schools are adding special ed to their programming. You should check that out." And I was like, "Oh, Dad, I'm 20 years old. I already know what I'm doing. I'm not going to do that." But after many conversations and a conversation with my advisor, I found, you know what, this degree is right for me. And after I started going into observations and fields in the special ed classroom, that was where my heart was. So I'm so glad that Cal U had that option to add in another major and I can get certified in both areas and graduate in 4 years. It was amazing.
That sounds like the perfect story. It's so interesting that
Yeah.
dads really kind of know instinctively what you should be doing with your life.
They
I
do.
mean, they just know you just from being around you all the time, I guess, over time. And my dad kind of did the same thing for me. He just kind of knew that I was really good with numbers. He knew that I was in high school taking a college level accounting course. And I happened to really like the professor. So I would always come home and I would talk about my teacher all the time. And finally, when it came time to decide what major and what career direction, he's like, "Look at all these jobs for accountants in the newspaper." And he literally gave me the wanted section of the newspaper at that particular time. You and I are dating ourselves, by the way, with
We
the flip
are. Flip
phone and the
phones,
newspaper
newspaper.
talk, right? Totally dating ourselves. But anyway, and he said, "Look at all these available jobs. This seems like a good major to get into because you're never going to be looking for work. There's always going to be somebody looking for an accountant to make sure that the numbers are right." So I don't know,
I know.
we have a similar experience that way.
My dad always said, "Sammy, education is one thing someone can never take away from you, and the world's always going to need teachers."
Yeah.
So true. So true.
Yeah. I think
We
we have
go,
the same.
dads.
Yeah. Way to go, dads. I think we had the same dad. I don't know. We're going to have to look because they sound exactly alike. And, you went on to get your master's degree and your PhD at Penn
Yes.
State. And now you teach a course at Grove City College on educational technology. So I
Right.
need to understand, what is educational technology and what types of things do you teach in this course?
Yeah, sure. So I have the honor of teaching future teachers all about ed tech and special education. So I do two intro courses, one's educational technology, one special education, and I do a couple of our field work as well in special ed. But the ed tech class, I'm usually the first professor that a first semester freshman sees 8 a.m. Monday morning, fall semester. And I got to tell you, like, when they come into my class, we're not doing syllabus day. We are doing relationships, and they're getting to know their peers. They're getting to know me. We play silly games like there's a game called Exploding Kittens. It's like a card game. We play Uno. We have Twister. We have all kinds of fun stuff for them to get to know each other and a little bit about the course. We talk more about that the second and third day. But in the course itself, we talk about educational technology and how to use it purposefully in the classroom, because we don't want to use ed tech as like one more thing, or we're getting observed that day, so let's throw in a Kahoot or whatever. We want to use it with purpose behind it. So we learn about the best practices, we learn about standards and how to implement that technology to engage, motivate our students in ways that we couldn't do without the technology.
Wow,
So
that
it is a
sounds
lot of
really
fun.
cool.
Every semester it's different and it's so
Yeah.
much fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun. And you're playing Exploding Kittens. I mean,
I
I
know,
have to
it's
go
a
and
blast.
understand Exploding Kittens now that you've mentioned it.
It's a card game. You can find it on Amazon. It's like Uno. They also create a game called with dodgeball, burrito, tacos. I don't know. It's a crazy card game that come with these little burritos that you throw at each other. Oh my gosh, it's fun. So do some shopping on Amazon.
Totally. I mean, they get an A+ for naming their card games. I will tell you that. There's no question about that. Very imaginative. So you enjoy talking about first semester freshmen and obviously helping them get adjusted to college, since you're working with them, fall semester right out of the chute. And to
Hmm.
be quite honest with you, I struggled quite a bit as a freshman at the University of Buffalo because the school had 30,000 students. And for me,
Wow.
that was just totally overwhelming. I mean, that was the first time I was on a big campus. I had no idea how I'm supposed to interact and engage with 30,000 students. It was just huge numbers. So, what tips can you share for other first semester freshmen that might be having difficulty adjusting to the college atmosphere?
Right. So first things first, don't be that student that goes to the organization fair and signs up for all the clubs and organizations. Be picky choosy, just like the toppings on the ice cream bar in the dining hall. Don't put all the toppings on your ice cream. Be picky choosy. So find stuff that's going to speak to your heart if you're a future teacher, as a future educator. There's organizations out there for specific majors. There might be some for different years, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, all those things, and different ways for you to connect with others. Don't sign up for everything. Be mindful. Also, look, actually, when you get that syllabus, look at it, read it. There might be some good information in there, like besides what textbook you need. It might give you some good dates, it might give you some good resources to study, and schedule out that content to go put on your agenda, whether it's digital or paper, whatever floats your boat, and put that on your calendar. So if you have a test coming up in 2 weeks, back up a week or so you can start studying a little bit at a time, so you're not cramming the night before. I wish I didn't do that. I remember so clearly a test that I crammed for in one of my core courses, and I so wish I didn't do that because I don't remember anything about that. I wish I would have taken the time to really be mindful of my coursework. You got to have your academics, you got to have fun too. So there's a nice there's I don't think there's ever balance. I think balance is a myth. I think some weeks you're going to have a little bit more coursework, sometimes you can have a little bit more fun, but make sure that you're going back to your agenda, you're working on your time management skills. When you're taking notes, there's tons of technology that can help you out. Like OneNote from Microsoft is phenomenal. They even have like a note taking template that gives you, here are the three main important points from the talk today. Here's anything I need to read or homework. And there's even a spot like for questions, like, okay, I didn't really understand that one topic. I should probably like send a little email to my professor, maybe ask them before next class, and go and review those notes before. If you do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so you're taking notes on Monday, take 5 minutes before class as people are coming in. Look to see what you worked on for the last class. It kind of refreshes your mind, like, oh yeah, we did talk about that. Or what did I do yesterday? I have no idea. Let me look back at my notes. Be mindful of your note taking, so don't write down everything the professor said. That's not going to help you. It's going to stress you out and hurt your hands. Yeah, so write down things that are going to help support you. If they repeat anything, if they mention any important dates, those are things you're going to want to write down. But yeah, be mindful of your time, work on your time management. It's something that is always growing as you grow as a student as well.
That's some great tips right there. One note for all of your note taking,
Yes.
which is incredible. And I agree with you completely in terms of time management and not cramming.
Mm,
I'm totally guilty, by the way, guilty as charged. I mean, my undergraduate experience, it was a lot of cramming. And to be quite honest with you, the retention goes way down. And then
mhm.
later in life, when I was a little bit more mature and I was going for my master's degree, then I think at that point I really understood time management and I really, really made an effort to not be cramming for all the
Mhm.
work and all the writing and all of the exams.
Yeah.
And you know what? I just, the retention was off the charts. It was a totally different experience for me. I think
Mhm.
part of it was because I was a little bit more mature at that point.
Mhm. Right.
But I think if I had to do it all over again, I would take your advice, which is not to cram, because I think I would have retained a lot more
Yeah.
of the information from undergrad.
And it's more meaningful too when you take the time to review it. One more thing I wanted to add would be to make time for yourself, do some self care, and that can look different in different phases of your life, whether it's taking a walk or, listening, rocking out to your favorite songs, your pump up jams, whatever that may be, journaling. If you enjoy praying, you can do that as well. Like just finding something to help you take care of you and center you is going to also go a long way during your college career, because college can get very stressful and overwhelming. Sometimes you just have to take a beat and breathe and take a breath, and everything's going to be okay. And if you oh, one more thing, sorry, I keep saying one more thing, but I really don't mean it. This is the one more thing. um, when you are going in for your test and your exams, know that that grade does not define you. That C or that D, you are so much more than that grade. So don't let that define you. Learn from it, reflect upon it, and do better next time. But don't get disheartened if you don't do as well on an exam or a test that you thought you would. Learn from it. Maybe get a study buddy, make study guides, connect with a professor. Um, yeah, because no one's going to ask you, what did you get on that one test? Just be okay with it and move on.
Yeah, great advice. And Samantha talks the talk and walks the walk. She just got back from a 2-hour walk around
I
the
know,
lake this
right?
morning. So it's not like she's telling you to do something she herself is not doing. Okay. She's the real deal. I promise you that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the other question that I have, and this comes up quite a bit when I'm talking to college students, obviously college expenses are off the charts. Belonging
Yes.
to student organizations like fraternities and sororities can be expensive at times. And what I did was I got a job. I mean, it was the only way for me to make ends meet. And I'm wondering, do you believe that college freshmen should have a job while they're attending school? What do you think about that?
Yeah, so I had a job too while I was in college. It was an on-campus job. I remember I was able to, it was like the check-in desk for residence hall. So I got to do my homework and just make sure people, like, I looked at their ID and checked them off. Okay, got it. So it was like a 3-hour shift of doing homework. So that was kind of sweet. If you can do something like that, if you can connect with your professors, sometimes there might be teaching assistantships or graduate assistantships for, graduate school that might be available. And if you can find a job related to your major, that would be fantastic. For example, for our future teachers, tutoring, childcare, nannying, babysitting. Even if your university is near an elementary school, if you can go in and volunteer, just getting involved in your major before you graduate is always really good experience, because you can learn a lot in books, you can learn a lot about the theory, but seeing the application is just incredible.
Totally agree. And I love the on campus jobs. You don't have to go very far.
I know,
So it's
right?
right there. And if you can do homework at the same time when it's not busy, I mean, that's a win
Sign me
win.
up.
Everybody wins.
Yes, everybody wins.
Oh my goodness. Now, I have a couple of kids. I got a freshman daughter in high school, and I have a sophomore son in high school as well. I live in Nashville, Tennessee, or in one of the suburbs, and they're looking at Vanderbilt. I mean, that is the college that they're looking at. It's local, and I'm wondering, if you live close to home at college, do you think that you should be going back home frequently on weekends to spend time with family and friends? Or is it better to kind of cement all of the relationships and just stay on campus?
That's a great question. I think it depends on the person. So, for me, I think I went home like once or twice a month. But other than that, I was on campus, really engaged in that experience because you don't want to miss out on those experiences. Is college hopefully will be the only thing that you do like one time those 4 years, or maybe 5 years if you go on to graduate school or PhD, a little bit more, but you really want to immerse yourself in that experience. Of course, go home for like those big events and things like that. But if you can, I'd say try to stay on campus. Maybe try it one weekend, see how it goes. The dining hall food's not that bad on the weekends, um, and if you like it, try it again. But just little steps. Try adulting a little bit more.
That's a great approach. The other thing that I think is going to be a challenge for some students is making sure that academics and scholarship in particular remain
Mm,
high while you're adjusting to college life and getting kind of immersed in the social scene and making friends and all of that other
yeah.
stuff. So, what tips do you have to make sure that academics remain a priority your freshman year?
Right. So we talked about those time management skills and some strategies for that. We talked about self-care, but I
Mhm.
would also look into for some majors, they might have tutoring options if you need that extra help. If you need disability services, they're there to help support you if you need any of those adaptations or accommodations made. So make those connections with disability services if you need extra time on tests, if you need a note taker, anything like that. Also, make connections with counseling services if you need those services too. They are they're there to help support you because there are life outside academics, but these can help support those academic adventures as well. Get to know your professors. We are there to support and help you as well. So if there is any questions, any problems, let them know ahead of time. So, for example, if you have a class on Monday morning and you're not feeling so great on a Saturday, I would just send them a little note and say, I might not make it to class on Monday morning, not feeling so great today. I'll be sure to check out the recording, get back to you if I have any questions about the recording or any presentations or PDFs that were handed out or anything like that, and I will have the assignment done. Just let them know ahead of time instead of after the fact. That's always really helpful. And just be on I would say be honest if you are struggling. Let the professors know because usually we have some strategies to help support you. You're not the first person struggling in a class and you won't be the last, so please don't feel that I'm the only one struggling. I don't know what to do. Just reach out for support. Just reach out.
That's great advice. I wish I took more advantage of all the resources that were available with
Yeah.
tutoring and everything else that's going on the college campus. I mean, I remember getting into calculus and it just hit me like a brick wall. And I'm like, I don't even understand what they're talking about. Like, I don't even know
Am I
what
in the right
language this
class?
is. You know what I mean? And I'm like, and I just felt so lost. And yeah, you're right. I think the default is I'm the only one here that doesn't understand what's going
Hmm.
on. But the
That's not
truth
true.
is, it's not true. I mean, the truth is, if I did a poll of all the students, they would probably all say, Mike, I have no idea what's going on right now.
Yeah.
And so I just think, we just need to be honest and just communicate with the teacher and other students and just ask for help. It's just that
Yes.
simple.
Right. Just ask.
Yeah, totally agree. The other thing, when I talk to college students all across the country right now, I think their budget and their finances is a major concern. I think keeping a budget as a freshman can be difficult because most of the college students I'm talking to, they are broke. I mean,
Yep.
just absolutely broke. So, what tips do you have from a financial perspective for freshman college students?
Yeah, so I am not a financial expert by any means, but if you are able to get any textbooks that are used from the bookstore, do that. Amazon has textbook rentals that you can get if you have a textbook and you make sure it's the correct edition,
Mhm.
and you can rent it on Amazon. You can also possibly rent books from your university's bookstore. Um, Sometimes there's even Facebook groups for your college or university. I know there's one for a local college near us that says, hey, this textbook's for sale for fall semester or whatever. So connect with other people who had already taken a course, maybe to help with those book costs, because those can cost like hundreds of dollars. They can be very expensive.
Mhm.
So rental or buy used instead of buying new, make sure that it's the correct edition. And you can always contact your professor to see, okay, what materials we need for the class. Sometimes it'll say in that syllabus. Sometimes you might know before the class starts what textbook and which edition to get. Another thing would be if you're working on campus, if you can set aside just a little bit of, I would set aside some money to save, however the percentages work out for you, some money to spend now, and for our future teachers who are listening, maybe money for your future classrooms. So you're kind of saving a little bit each month. Money you can spend on your Starbucks and your Dunkin' orders and your pizza and all that stuff, but also, money you can put away, car payments, cell phone payments, all that stuff, and then also money for your future self. They will thank you in the future. So that those are the only tips that I have for that. I'm sorry it's not too in depth, but be mindful of the money that's coming in, and if you can allocate it to certain things, that would be helpful. It also help you, after college with
Yeah, great
separating
tips.
all that.
Great tips. I mean, I wish as a society we weren't talking about, potential teachers putting money away for their classroom in future years. I mean, that should be taken care of. That should be a
Right.
given. But I think in reality we have to kind of know where we are today and hope for a better future. So I think putting some money away for something like that, I mean, it's meaningful. It gives you purpose. And maybe if you just automatically take it away from, like, let's say your paycheck on campus and it automatically
Mhm.
goes into a savings fund, then maybe it's just kind of out of sight, out of mind, and you can
Exactly.
save that way.
Yeah,
Um,
so I'll expand on that a little bit more. So, for some of us, if you wanted to put money away for your future self, that could be like spent on a professional wardrobe if you're doing an internship or student teaching. I know whenever I was in college, I was always hitting up like thrift stores and things like that for books for the classroom or anything like that. So I wish that I would have had like a little separate fund. So I'm not like taking away from my Starbucks cash, but I can have a little bit of money. Like, hey, I know I got like $10 to spend this month. Maybe I can find a really cool deal or something like that. So, like, that's kind of what I meant by your future classroom. Sorry, I didn't expand on that too much, but
That's perfect. I absolutely love it. The other thing that really concerns me right now on college campuses is depression, suicides. I mean, I'm
mm,
seeing these numbers climb every single year. It's really concerning. Obviously, right now we're dealing with a pandemic, so there's a lot of
right.
isolation. So that comes into the mix as well. But even before the pandemic, I mean, if we're being honest, I think depression and suicides, I mean, those numbers are just climbing. And it's a real thing, especially for freshmen who are living away from home
That's
for the
hard.
first time in their lives, right? So,
Yeah.
what resources are available for students that are struggling with their mental health right
I would definitely go and reach out to your college campus's counseling center. They are there to support, they are the professionals that are there to support you in that, whether it be checking in every week or every once in a while, just to make sure you're doing okay. And if you have a friend who's going through depression or anything like that, I would just check in on them every few days. Just say, hey, how's it going? Do you want to go grab a cup of coffee together? Hey, let's go walk to class together. Because some of our friends, maybe we have roommates or something like that who aren't getting up and going to class, or, we can see that something's going on. Just checking in on the people around you to show that you care and that you can help support them.
Yeah, we got to care about our friends on campus, other
Hmm.
students. We're all in this thing together. And we also need each other at different times, right? It's this
Right.
continuum that we're on. And sometimes we're feeling really good and we're high on that. And then, other times we're feeling down. There are many times in my career, to all of my listeners, that I depended on somebody else for support because
Yeah.
there was a lot of things going on in my life at that particular time and I needed that support. And you know what? I remember who those people are. And, I make it a point to reward them for sticking by me, because that is really what matters. I remember all of them very clearly.
Hmm.
So be that person for somebody else is what I'm
Yes.
trying to say. The other thing is, we should talk about your book. It's called EduMagic,
Yeah.
a guide for pre-service teachers. So what is this book all about, and what will the readers walk away with after they read it?
Yeah, so I wrote this book for past Sammy when she was in college, and these are all the things that I wish that I knew as an education major. So it goes in, EduMagic is an acrostic, so it stands for something. So E stands for educate and engage. It talks about going beyond just that syllabus checklist, that rubric checklist, and really engaging in your coursework, going beyond that A aspiration of, oh, I have to get an A, I have to get a 4.0, but really diving into your learning, because A's, those are nice, but they don't show what you learned. Maybe a B shows what you learned, and those types of things. So really engaging your coursework. D stands for digital presence, and how it's really important to have a positive, powerful digital presence out there as an educator, and some ways to do that as a future teacher. U stands for unite your PLM, a professional learning network. So as a future aspiring teacher, you can start connecting with districts, with administrators, with teachers now, even as a freshman, through Twitter, through Instagram, through sharing all of your awesomeness throughout the internet. So whenever you're a senior and you are student teaching, you've made these connections, and you can build upon those whenever you are job searching. M stands for megapixels. Another shout out to my dad on this one. Megapixels, it's not like the element, the pixel on a picture, but it's what he calls like sprinkles on an ice cream, on ice cream. So, oh, that's a megapixels to that, Sammy. Okay, Dad. So it's adding extra to your lesson planning, adding those extras to your coursework. So you are going above and beyond for yourself, not just for that grade, for that class and that professor. A stands for always be. That's just kind of like always advocate for yourself and advocate for your students. Be generous, be thankful, those types of things. G stands for get out. We can learn a lot in the classroom, but we can learn a lot from getting out of the classroom as well. So going and attending conferences, presenting at conference, listening to webinars, listening to amazing podcasts, might also, getting out of your comfort zone, out of your regularly scheduled programming of your college day, and going beyond that so you can really invest in yourself as a learner. I stands for inconceivable, and that's all about the ed tech and how we can make the impossible possible using educational technology to enhance our lessons. And C stands for co-op gone virtual. So as a student teacher, sometimes we are limited to our geographic location and how far we can travel in a day. So there are amazing educators all around the world. So connect with those educators. And if you can, ask how you can support them. So if you are creating a unit plan for a class, about Charlotte's Web or whatever that might be, find a teacher who needs that and create that for them to use in their classroom. So now you're not just creating for a grade for a professor that you may or may not use one day, but now you're creating it for actual students in a classroom with a teacher and get feedback. Maybe you can do a virtual thing. So that's what EduMagic's all about. It's things I wish I knew as a future teacher while I was in college, and how to really be an educator of excellence.
Sammy, you and I are very much alike. I will tell you that. I mean, we're both out there creating books that we wish we had as a freshman
Yes.
in college, because it just would have been so much easier if I had a book to turn to say, what is going on here? What do I need to know about this?
Hmm.
And so I think you and I are very much alike in that way, that we're trying to make it easier for the next generation that comes
Yes,
through.
absolutely.
So that's really good. And the other fun thing about you is I know you love good food, and we love good food here at Fraternity Foodie too. So I know talking to you about good food is really no problem. Like, all right, how much time do you have? So what is your favorite restaurant in the Mercer, Pennsylvania area?
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be hands down Talbots. It is like 10 minutes from our house. They have amazing food, like quality ingredients, fantastic service, whether you are, feel like I'm a commercial for them, whether you're dining in or take out, and the prices are so budget friendly. Oh my gosh, it is the best. I always go for their burger. My husband goes for the steak and shrimp, and then I always have to get dessert because I eat my extra calories. My husband drinks them in beer, but I eat my extra calories, something chocolate. And they always have fantastic food, always so creative too. Like they have They have a dish called the Charlie Brown Town. It's always something different. They always have really fun names. You have to read, okay, what is this? What am I getting myself into? But it's a blast. The decor is like all Wu-Tang Clan. It is just so eclectic and fun. And the chef is amazing. He has everywhere on his website and on his restaurant. It's something like, my food is my reputation. So if you like it, tell others. If you don't, tell me, so I really love that. And I think that really can speak to the work that we do as teachers. If you are loving what we do as educators, as podcasters, go tell others. But if there's something wrong, tell me about that. I want to make that right.
Right. I agree wholeheartedly. That
Oh, look how
resonates
I
with
tied
me.
that all in.
Yeah, I mean, you tied it all in perfectly. I mean, that resonates with me. If I do a good job on your college campus, tell everybody you know. If you got a problem, I want to fix it. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
the first one to say I am an imperfect human being, and I'm, dedicated to making it the best that I possibly can be, this experience. And so if there's something missing, tell me, so that
Yes.
way we can bring it going forward. So I love that. And that's a great recommendation. Any restaurant that has Wu-Tang Clan on,
Oh my
decorations. I
gosh,
mean,
it's
what?
phenomenal.
Are you serious?
It's the best. It's the
That is
best.
awesome. They're going to take this clip and they're going to make it into a commercial. So
Well, they should.
you're,
I should
you're
send
going
it
to
to
see
them.
yourself on TV, like talking about the restaurant.
It's a great restaurant. Seriously, I love it. It's phenomenal.
That is great. All right. So this was a lot of fun. If our listeners have questions for you, is there a place they can go to get more information? Maybe someplace on social media where they can connect with you?
Yeah, of course. So if they head on over to sfecich.com, that's SFECICH, they can find all my work, my books, my courses, my podcasts, and then you can follow me over on Twitter and Insta at sfecich, SFECICH.
That's perfect. I love that you got the letters in there as well, so that way people aren't going to get lost
Yeah,
trying
I
to
know.
find you. Listen, my last name is brutal as well, so asking them what my last name is, forget it. I have to spell it.
Yes.
So so we share that as well. This has been so much fun. I really appreciate it. All the education majors that are listening right now are going to be like, "Wow, this is gold."
Yay.
So thank you, thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Mike. This was great.
I'm glad you had a good time. To our listeners, if you enjoyed it, if you're an education major, make sure you like this. Make sure you send this to other education majors that are right there with you, because
Yeah.
talking to somebody who's been there and done that and trying to make it easier for the next generation, that's exactly what you want to find. And
Yes.
Sammy is the real deal. So thank you so much for being here today, and we hope to see you on a future episode of Fraternity Foodie. Thanks so much. Bye for now.